Welcome to the Blessed Teach Show. This is Rick, your host. Here we are on March 14th, Thursday, and we have Trump saying stand strong with his Q plus on QAnon, and I have a special guest, Dustin Nemos, here live. I'll introduce him here in just a second, but I just wanted to first get this rolling. I see people starting to come on already. I appreciate you guys joining us here live streaming on YouTube. Also going live on a bunch of podcasts. Not going live, but going later on a bunch of podcasts. Hey, I see people from California and Boise and Fort Worth. Thank you guys for all joining. Albuquerque, Chicago. Let's get rolling here. I wanted to first start with our sponsor to get that out of the way so I can spend more time with Dustin here. And so this is the flashlight, guys, I've been talking about quite a while. I'm getting a lot of great feedback from many customers on this, mainly because it's built so well and it's solar powered. And so it literally during outage of power, you can actually charge up your cell phone. Look at this right here. So this is a solar powered item. It doesn't have to have direct sunlight. That's what I love about it more than anything. And then I can actually bring this, then I can actually just, in the new 2019 version, you can charge it right here from the side. That added them to allow a siren on the back in the 2019 version, so it's a siren as well as the glass cutter, the glass breaker right here, as well as the seatbelt and wire cutter. And so to have this type of device as a survival device, I think this just makes a lot of sense, and maybe having one for each in your home. Incredibly well built device. My sister-in-law loved this when she got it. I got subscribers talking about how they're ordering more. Again, this is like a $140 device, but it's half price, and you get another 20% beside that if you use my coupon code. And if you buy multiple, you get a bigger discount. So you can really do some amazing things. If you come here and just grab this flashlight, you can see if you buy 3 of them right here, it goes all the way down to $49 each. And then make sure you go to the top right here, and then you would set top blessed 20 as a coupon code. Remember, blessed 20 as a coupon code. This is patriotflashlight.com. So patriotflashlight.com. Use blessed 20. Goes all the way down. Shave another $30. $119. Get 3 flashlights for the price of 1. Again, have one of these for each of your phones, maybe for loved ones. A great survival device for anybody that is a friend or family member. Hey, I want to get right into Dustin Nemos, so let me bring him on screen here. Pleasure to have him. He just finished up helping edit a book, and we're going to be talking about the Qyoo book here in a second. There's a lot of controversy around it. We'll be talking about in a second. Hey, but Dustin, I know most people know you, but would you, for those in my audience that don't, would you kind of give us a little bit of introduction?
I'm just a guy who started YouTubing because I couldn't shut up about, things that were bothering me about the world. And it turned into this kind of crazy platform that, like you yourself share. I mean, we're kind of speaking the truth in an insane world, and it's kind of a crazy ride. Yeah. And that's me. I've been censored, banned, all sorts of things, as you yourself have probably been. And that's where we are now. The book itself has sort of surprised everybody, but we'll get into that too.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of just show real quickly here's a website of DustinNemos.com, and tell us a little bit about that website and what's available there for everybody.
Well, it's got some really cool quotes about my work at the bottom. You can even see where Alex Jones called me all sorts of funny names.
Yeah.
But, that's sort of just, I sort of put my thoughts there. It's a lot of raw data. It's not really well organized. It's a kind of an ugly site, but there's a lot of good information on there. I put sort of a lot of my thoughts there, some of my debate notes for like vaccines and stuff, all there in one place. So it's kind of neat in that respect.
I'm showing your cool video, Matrix video right now. Yeah. That's a pretty cool thing there. And then here is Dustin Nemos on Twitter. And so, no, I'm sorry, this is the YouTube. So this is Dustin Nemos 2. You can see he's got 92,000 subscribers. It's much bigger than that because he got to 86,000, and they kind of slowed you way down, right?
Yeah, my first 10 days, or 11 days, it was 1,200 subs a day, and then it was 50. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, they've been messing with me.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happening to a lot of us right now. So he's in the same boat as I am in many ways. And then he's also, you can search Dustin Nemos on Twitter, but what's your handle again? It was much smaller than that.
I wasn't really smart about this when I started. I didn't really know what I was getting into, and I just Nemo V8.
Nemo
really,
V8. Okay.
The V8 like tomato drink?
Right.
That was I'm not creative at all.
All right, all right. No, that's awesome. I just love it. I just love it. Now, so we'll have to get your whole story about the fun thing and where you're living right now, and how you were red pilled all the way real young, and all that. But first, I thought we'd get into the Qyoo decodes and kind of go through that, and then we'll kind of go back where I'll interview you about how things are going and all the way to the book now, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure. Let me pull them up too.
So let's dig in here. So now you can't see him, I know. So if you can see him just on the on the web, like we were talking about. So right now, it starts 30:53 is where we left off last night. Right. This is on the 13th where we saw the New York Times article about Facebook data deals investigation. So we know that now Facebook data deals are under criminal investigation. That is so wild. But this first one today goes to 30:54, and it has an article. It has a tweet by Representative Doug Collins, and we already saw yesterday where he had the Lisa Page testimony he published. And look what he says now: "Happy hunting Qyoo for what? What are we happy hunting on? It is now Peter Strzok's information." I haven't had a chance to dig into this. Have you had a chance to dig into this at all?
No, but I'm sure that we won't see anything about the secret society or anything. But we'll probably see plenty of good stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get the Anons digging through this and finding the nuggets that are in there, right? So we're just starting to get the nuggets for Lisa Page right now, where they're talking about that she was told there will be no, lay off Hillary, basically, right? Today, she was told that by the Justice Department, the Obama Justice Department. So all those nuggets are starting to come out on the Lisa Page one, and this is like, to me, if you took everything that needs to be declassed, this is like just the little. So it can be like WikiLeaks, right? A little bit every day we're gonna get.
Yeah, I agree. Although, this incrementalism, this sort of, I think it's really helped keep the pressure on. That's what's built the whole movement. I think they've just kept stepping it up over time.
Yeah, and then we're kind of accelerated now, right? When we talk about acceleration, it's like, wow, it's really amazing right now. Such an exciting time. 30:55 has Sarah Carter. She's in the know. The end is near. Qyoo, what are they talking about? We're talking about the fact that the pit bull, Weissman's gone. He's leaving. He's about ready to step down. So I can't. This makes me so happy, Dustin. I don't know about you, but like this guy is. I used to work at Arthur Andersen earlier in my career, and I went to Accenture later. But a lot of my friends got wiped out by him at Andersen when the Enron thing happened.
He's a crooked guy.
Yeah, very crooked, isn't he?
Yeah, they have like an all-star team. It's like the Globetrotters of evil, the Mueller team.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And that so just if you look through this, it's just a really good detailed article. Obviously, you click here. This was the tweet that we saw, but here's the full article, and the fact that that Weissman does such the aggressive tactics, right? The almost police state tactics, and even holding exculpatory information, things like that, which we're starting to now see happened throughout this whole process.
I would like to even just interject just a good point, I guess, because this is a great example of like the psychopath lesson. I want to always tell that lesson to people because people get into that normalcy bias where they think things are always the same, and they expect the same of people as they do of sort of themselves. Normal people don't want to hurt people, that kind of attitude. There are people out there who do not care about the rules and will do anything to win and have no remorse whatsoever. They will crush anyone beneath their feet. And this is the kind of people that are surrounding this Mueller case and the Clintons in general.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when we start learning more about these psychopaths. And so I got to ask you, because the cat's in the background, some people are talking about it. So what's the cat's name?
This is Sniffles. He's my oldest.
The oldest is Sniffles. All right, I'm glad Sniffles is joining us tonight.
Yeah, it's a goofy name, but long time ago, the girl I was dating way back years ago gave it to him. He was sick when I got him. He was like a little kitten, and his face was all like congested and all that stuff. So she called him Sniffles.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, so that's 30:55. If you go to 30:56, an anon says Baker requests handoff. So, these bakers are people that don't get paid a dime. Nobody knows who they are. And they're putting tremendous time into this. And so, obviously, to hand off and get some breaks every once in a while is vital. And I love how Qyoo responds to this by saying, thank you for your service, the importance of anons, patriots, and your commitment thus far is incalculable. God bless Qyoo. What do you think?
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. I wish I could hire that guy. Like, just people like that, they deserve to be in this kind of business fighting evil full time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that some of these anons decide to come out later. I would love to have them on my show later, right? To say, look at this guy. He put 50 hours a week. Nobody knew who he was,
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. Some of them are just heroes.
Yeah, they really are. And I can't wait to be able to honor some of those guys, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think the next one is pretty obvious.
The 3057. Go ahead.
It's just the Punisher logo. So it's, .png, a traitor's. We know what that means.
Yes. That's just that means pain. When the trip code was revealed, right? PAIN. Here it comes. 3057. Speaking our language. 3058 gets into RR debrief complete. Rod Rosenstein. Debrief complete. Qyoo. That's like an exit interview.
Yeah, he's done. It's on the way out.
Yeah, that is going to be a sweet thing. So somebody's saying, thank you for having Dustin on. You both rock, says Kate Pickman. Appreciate it, Kate. Here we are on 3059. We get into AG Barr, disgusted by what he's discovered so far. In all my years, in all my life, I never would have thought, and there's empty brackets there, would be possible within the halls of these prestigious federal agencies. Press conference coming. They will claim political attack. Qyoo. Any thoughts on what might be in those brackets?
I had my doubts about Barr and his family and friend kind of relationship with Mueller, but ever since he got in, things have been really happening, and they've been happening fast. So, I don't know about the brackets, but I feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, I just the fact that he was able to remove that. We'll get to that in a second. The indictments just shows that, just like Qyoo talked to us about, what if he put a rogue AG agent in there at this point in time? And no, he's not a stupid president, right? So. Yeah,
he's a high functioning genius.
No question.
Clearly.
So do you want to go ahead and read a few of these, starting with a 30? Oh, I gave you a long one. 3059.
Well, 3060 here.
3060, yeah.
So they're going to have, a press conference coming with AG Barr. Well, 3059, yeah. AG Barr disgusted by what he's discovered. Did we get the numbers on that? I always want to do that when I can. I guess we're not finished.
The numbers on what?
Has anyone run the numbers on how many are in that bracket?
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's usually.
Let me know. I know Lou usually have that. What's
I'm bad at it. My vision's not.
It was 12 in the last one that we were talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, we'll come back to that. Maybe somebody could, since we're live, somebody could knock that out for us. So 3060 insurance indictments in regards to Ivanka, Jared, and Junior all removed. So this was their backup plan, and this must be what he was talking about with the Barr thing. His power to remove some of these fake indictments on the Trump kids that were going to be their backup plan to go after him. So now they have nothing even to do that with. So this is sort of, but didn't it come out that Barr was given the okay to Mueller to go after the Trump kids? What's that about? So two different.
Yeah, exactly. A media article did with no sources, right? That was third removed and all that type of stuff, confirming that he was going to allow them to go after it. And then Qyoo debunked it.
I thought it would be a 4D chess move to get the energy needed in defending the Trump children from this man to go after Obama and Hillary with a real arrest. Because imagine how much the country would rally around the Trump children right now.
Yeah, that would have been an interesting ploy. But the fact that Qyoo was bold to say that that he, you know, that was a question mark about do they have the power to remove a sealed indictment or not, right? And I read also things about people saying no, but usually when Qyoo says that, that means the answer's, you know, a positive answer to us. And what I love what he says, but you already knew that from the drop, right? So we already knew that from yesterday that he was going to be able to remove that.
Yeah, so he's once again ahead of this thing. I mean, for those who have missed it lately, I mean, some of the big ones were like the John Perry Barlow, you know, proof of his death beforehand kind of thing. So we've got some pretty serious evidence coming out lately. All of the triple deltas in the same day, you know, you've covered all of that, I'm sure. So lately, it's like Qyoo has really started to get kind of like cocky about it a little bit, sort of flaunting it, and really just this energy, this sort of braggadocious behavior. It's atypical of him. So I feel like the energy is really about to hit, and they really are panicking.
Yeah, I love it when they panic. And I even noticed in the book there's the second or third part talked about Qyoo proofs, right? I thought that was a really good idea to put that early in the book. And so, you know, there was just a lot of was it Lisa? I think Lisa did that on all the Qyoo proofs, or no, it was Red Pill 76 and some others that did it. I was reading it on the plane on the way home tonight. But yeah, so there's so many proofs, and it's like the people that are trying to be, you know, Qyoo got compromised, the Corsies of the world and the Jacks of the world are really looking like fools now when we get so many proofs every single week.
Yeah, remember Jack Posobiec said Qyoo was McCain at one point. So Jack Posobiec he's
that's worse than a decode by Corsi.
You know, I quit being mad at him. At this point, he's just chat logs, right? Like he's like lovable chat logs. He's like the comedic side of this thing.
Yeah, it is kind of wild how they're handling this, and it'd be tough when you're a paid shill and you're not, and you don't know the, you know, and I don't know, they could be. I'm just looking at the positive side about this, which would be terrible, but their families could be being threatened. Maybe they're being forced into compliance, right? And what a miserable place to be, whether you're being paid or being forced.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. My opinion of this guy, I'll be pretty open about it. I've been to some of the events that he's been to now. Mm-hmm. I've spoken to people in sort of the inner circuit and everything. I'm pretty sure he's just like a womanizer who hangs out in DC. But I did basically kind of poison the well against him because a lot of his behavior came out with the whole doxing of me and like the way he responded to me in person when I said, "Hey, chat logs" to him politely. So you know, he's kind of turned people against him now, even in his own circuit. So even though I'm not usually part of that DC crowd, one visit is all it took. What he is now. People kind of realize what he's, you know, people turned against him pretty quickly about this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we know Qyoo's given us truth. I mean, and uniting millions of people together. And so when somebody's actually telling us lies about it and using Apple standard, it was like you couldn't be getting more sloppy than that.
Such B-level BS. Like, you'd think that like the deep state of the world could have hired better help, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, if you're faking something, that's probably not the thing to do, the way he handled that. Yeah, if I go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, you know, I did a counter surveillance thing one time, and the really good like CIA level types, they'll by the time they're watching you, they're already embedded in your environment. You don't even know that they're there. But oftentimes they'll have one team come out and collect the data first, and you won't catch that team. But then the second team actually shows up using the first team's data, and they're part of your background. Like, that's the person that you marry, or the person that you gain trust with over years. You know, that's the way they work. So at this point, I kind of lost my train of thought as where I was going with that. But in terms of the trustworthiness of some of these folks, you know, Jack Posobiec, people like him, these B-level things that they're doing, I feel like maybe there's something worse behind it. You know, they're so obvious about it. Like, it's almost like they would expect to get caught. It's almost like I'm looking for shadows at this point because of, you know, all of my heroes like Alex Jones falling from grace now in my eyes, so to speak. But it's almost as though if they're that easy to catch these obvious shills, maybe they're dangled before us, and I'm wondering kind of where the the less obvious ones
The
are.
more sophisticated, the more sophisticated controlled
crazy?
opposition. Yeah, controlled opposition was a huge eye opener to me, because I used to tell my son when he told me Alex Jones was a controlled opposition, and I got mad at him, basically saying, "What do you mean? I mean, everybody, all the mainstream media is attacking him. You know a person by their enemies." And then I realized the deep state's a lot more sophisticated than I ever thought.
Yeah, Hillary just keeps sending traffic to him. If anything, I mean, how many times has she mentioned him? I mean, think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anything, maybe he was just their guy all along for our demographic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a troubling thing. I mean, he says 98% truth. He's woke people up. He's done good for the world. But when push came to shove and accountability came around, I mean, he's let us down numerous times, and that's a troubling, especially with the Qyoo lies and stuff. So that's a troubling trend, at least.
Yeah, I love how you summarize that. Maybe we'll get to that after the decodes here. It'd be real interesting to get it. We'll
How it made him cry, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Serial Brain 2 even said that's clever what they were doing there, right? Mm-hmm. 3061 gets to George Papadopoulos. Here he is saying, "I will be dropping big news about Mifsud today." And Mifsud, as most of you know, was acting as if he was a Russian asset when he really was a Western intelligent asset. So he was part of the whole setup of the Trump campaign. I haven't seen what he actually dropped on this other than saying this. Have you seen what he dropped on Misfit yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so it'll be real interesting. So I did see there was a new article, I'll show you right here, by Jonathan Solomon in The Hill that talked about something a little different than what I think Papadopoulos is talking about. He talked about the damning proof of innocence that FBI likely withheld in the Russian probe. So it was really more like talking about George Papadopoulos' exculpatory evidence, where he clearly told Halper and others, right? So that was more the exculpatory evidence. So I think George is going to be dropping something else, and it probably may have been dropped by now. So if anybody online knows, let me know.
I think, he was there when I went to American Priority, and he was actually kind of just hanging out and not partying, but socializing with people a lot.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that was a really interesting experience. But I think he's kind of adopted his role really well in this. I think he's having fun with it now. Like, obviously he's been the target of a bunch of crap, a bunch of flack, but he seems to be in good spirits about it. He seems to be really enjoying it. I think he's kind of aware of what's happening with the Qyoo movement as well. For sure. I have no doubts. I can't say that, officially, but we'll see how it turns out, though, for sure. This is getting fun, and he seems to be. I hope he doesn't get killed.
Yeah, I hear you. He's got a book coming out, and he's being really bold on Twitter. Yeah. So he could use some prayers. Lift him up for protection, George Papadopoulos. And then Qyoo basically is posting him and saying, "Another piece to the puzzle."
A lot. He's been Q'd more than anyone, I think, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah, which is really showing, because he was the one that was set up, and it says Otis saving the world, Qyoo.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? And that is exactly what's happening, guys. Is that Qyoo is using this awesome talent base of patriots that don't care about people knowing who they are and want to be anonymous, most of them. Right? Weren't you a true anon for a while, Dustin?
Well, actually, Nemos was no one. It's no one in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose that name kind of to maintain my anonymity. I eventually, I saw that there was a need for voices that could reason through things. And, I saw anti-school at first, and I was like, this young kid out there talking the truth, and he's making a business out of this, and this is working for him, and I could totally do this. This is totally my passion. Why am I not doing this?
Right.
I'm already watching 8-9 hours a day of content.
Right.
Obsessively doing this since I was like 15, 16, 17 years old. I mean, I can't not do this anyway, so I may as well put it to some good use and try to help people in a more active way. I mean, before this, I was just trying to debate and try to do other things that were just not effective. And then, with Trump and everything that happened, I got inspired. I kind of came out of a place of nihilism and hedonism and just escapism, and just trying to kind of avoid the pain of what I knew was coming. I could see coming down the pipeline for the world. But
awesome.
Wow, yeah, I was for a while.
Yeah, that's awesome that you and so nobody saw your face until you decided to come on Facebook. Is that right?
Well, yeah, on YouTube.
Okay. I'm sorry, YouTube. Duh.
Started there on YouTube, and that's still kind of it. I really am not active anywhere else. I need to be, and I need to kind of get better at that stuff. But I'm really bad at it. Actually, I'm more of, if anything, my interest would be more like books and like maybe a homestead somewhere with internet. But that's otherwise just like no people for 10 miles, please.
Yeah, I think your YouTube fans are going to want you to continue to do that work. I think you're doing awesome at it.
Yeah, well, I've sacrificed the agricultural side of things for a while, and I'm focused on this until we win, and put evil's tentacles back in the box.
Awesome,
sure.
That's great. And so now 3061 has the same post, and he amplifies it on more, and it says another piece of the puzzle, auto saving the world. I just read that. Interesting. Let me see. Yeah. I don't know why that was there.
Well, it's worth reading twice, man. Auto saving the world. Imagine all those people out there who feel broken. People who are in this audience right now, people who feel, I call it the red pill isolation, but it's really the allegory of the cave, Plato's cave. It's people who have stepped out of the damn cave and who've seen the shadows for what they are, and who've seen the sunlight and just want to help the world. And they're called crazy or loony or different or strange or whatever, but they won't give up. And they're out there all over the internet. They're out there organized. They're having fun with it now, just like Papadopoulos, just like we are. Right. They are saving the world, and they won't give up. And they're super smart people, and they're organized. And like I said, having a fun time. The culture has changed. Qyoo has changed the world.
No question. That's exciting to see these what Flynn would call the army of digital soldiers, right? Which you mentioned in this book as well.
I better stay away from that. I got in some trouble for bringing that quote into the book. I didn't see a problem with it.
Oh, really?
But I guess in the context, I was thinking who knows what he knew, right? Like he was a central figure to this plan, obviously, and he's played a big part. Qyoo himself said this plan was years in the making. Who can know what he knew? But a lot of people gave me some pushback saying that we sort of like co-opted his intention for one thing, which happened before Qyoo, and applied it to the Qyoo movement. So, that wasn't the intention, but the quote really does apply to the Qyoo movement if you think about it. So,
no question.
We did this to honor the Flynns.
Yeah, I thought it was honorable. Yeah, there's so many critics on this book. It's just crazy.
I love it, man. I love the controversy. All it does is it just proves the point and makes it bigger, and it shows that we're over the target.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I love that part. 3062 is the Hill article about Lisa Page bombshell. And this is not the one I was talking about Papadopoulos. This is the one before. FBI couldn't prove Trump-Russia collusion before Mueller. And that is one of the big findings that we found out of that testimony that's being released to the public. I love that they're doing this.
Yeah, so that, why would he even have Mueller? But sure.
Yeah, exactly. It says, and so Qyoo says, remember this important fact capitalized, and then a bunch of capitalization. He says, if there was no evidence of Russia collusion, what grounds did Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein have, and look at Rod Rosenstein's in brackets, have to appoint Mueller?
Oh man, it's beautiful.
Isn't that a great question?
Just laid it out right there. This is the path toward the end of Rosenstein and the whole end of this thing. This is going to be their path. I mean, it's clearly Rosenstein had a bias, and then he elected Mueller illegally with no evidence whatsoever. And once they establish that, the whole thing falls apart. That seems to be the track that they're taking here.
And what Dan Bongino would say is that this is a perfect example of a police state, where they're investigating a person to try to take him down versus a crime. You're supposed to have evidence of a crime before you start. And I kind of come from the position of someone who just really doesn't trust any sort of power ever. Right.
So I always am suspicious of anyone in power. I sometimes forget that people often respect this sort of entity. You have my baby in the background, but some people actually respect the FBI or the CIA or something, and that's a very strange concept to me. Is respecting these agencies. I know that they do some good in the world, but they largely do it less effectively than a free market enterprise counterpart would do, and with a whole lot more corruption. So I'm very wary of that kind of thing. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so is Bongino. If you haven't ever listened to him, he's the same thing. He was a Secret Service, and he's seen the power of, even when people are guilty, he just felt bad when he's arresting them because their life was over. The power of the government is so if that gets out of control, the liberty of everybody just goes down the toilet, right?
Yeah, and power always corrupts anytime you give it to people. So that's why I'm a voluntarist.
Yeah, no question. So this Qyoo finishes this by saying Rod Rosenstein, in brackets again, offered to wear a wire to entrap the President of the United States in an attempt to invoke the 25th Amendment?
Mm-hmm.
Qyoo. Two big questions right there, just showing that Rod Rosenstein is dirty, right? And so that's why. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome stuff. So we're going to go to 3063. Hey, before I do that, I'm going to go to my other sponsor of this show, and that's a Trump 2020 coin. Guys, if you are proud of Trump as I am, it's like having a piece of history is awesome. I wish I could afford a ton of this gold stuff, but they're $1,950. So you can get one of these that's gold. But for only $35, you can get a silver one. That's pure silver. It could be part of your 401k. It could be part of your RA rollover. Right, and it's got this beautiful rendition of Trump on the front saying 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump on the front side. On the back side, it says delivering as promised. First major tax reform in 30 years. Unemployment rate lowest in 18 years. Jobless claims lowest since 1973. Dow Jones highest in history. And just the fact that this says delivering as promised on a coin, right? And so you guys can get these, and there's two deals going on right now. Not only do you get $5 off of every coin you buy if you use BLESSED in the coupon code, you also, if you order more than 3, you actually get free shipping. Okay, now just to make sure everybody knows this, they don't have that working on the gold one. The gold one already has $100 off free shipping, so do two separate orders if you want the gold one, right? But for the silver one, free shipping of over 3 plus $5 off for every coin. Right, I think they're $38.95 right now because the price of silver and gold has been going up. So again, make sure you put BLESSED in the coupon code to get those the discount as well as the free shipping for those over 3 coins. But let's get back to these decodes because it's exciting. 3063 talks about, remember this important fact. Adam Schiff is part of the Gang of 8 intel. It'll become critical once Gang of 8 material is declassified. Logical question. If Adam Schiff knew everything he's investigating and stating publicly to be knowingly false disinformation, why then would he take the course of actions ongoing? Did Adam Schiff purposely deceive the American public, thinking the Gang of 8 material plus other classified documentation would never reach the public domain? What insurance did they hang over POTUS' head in order to prevent action? A father's love for his children knows no bounds.
My gosh. They threatened his children with these indictments that we just have bar pulling, so they have nothing now. Yeah. And Adam Schiff was lying to their face all this time, knowing that they knew, because he knew that they couldn't say anything about what was in there. And now we're going to have him caught red-handed.
Yeah. Besides Brennan, he's like the number one guy I want.
I want to know about the Standard Hotel. I want to know about all the kids. I want to know about the death. I want to know about every bit of it as well.
Yeah, no question. And so it's just amazing to just see somebody come up there and, yes, after this whole Qyoo movement for a year, lie about the president, lie to us as the public, lie about everything. And act and use good, nice wording and be on CNN as an analyst almost all the time. It's like, wow, it'd be so nice to get him out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't come into uniting until we get this MSM criminal activity out, right? And so I'm sure.
No, I sort of want to push the fake news, fake MAGA, or less fake news, more fake MAGA. But yeah, you're right. I agree with you. I just feel like CNN and those guys are done already. Sorry to interrupt them.
That's a good point. Especially CNN's not getting very good ratings. But you still, when you add CNN and you add MSNBC and you add ABC and CBS, and then you on your iPhone, every single news article is the Washington Post and New York Times. It's like just frustrating to me that
I
my
love
friends
those mass layoffs though.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. Right after the Obama funding went away, right?
Yeah, it was down to what, like 80,000 per year per each one that got fired, like salary basically. I think the math came out, so it was like the perfect number. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly what they pay the reporters. So 3064 starts getting into relook at what was happening in August. You notice a pattern. 5/4/2018. Bruce Orr demoted 2 times. I'm not going to go over all these, but Peter Strzok, cooperating witness. Lisa Page, cooperating witness. Bill Priestap, cooperating witness. Michael Cotron, cooperating witness, right? And then it has a link here to a tweet. What did we learn this week? Well, and what Paul Sperry says is breaking. DOJ, IG, Horowitz is investigating who in the SR ranks of FBI and DOJ, including Rosenstein and Yates, knew Bruce Orr was back channeling anti-Trump dirt from Steele to the FBI after Steele was terminated by the FBI as a confidential source. Orr is fully cooperating in probe. So it's like, what have we learned? Well, we've learned all that. That's kind of exciting. And Q goes on. Orr, cooperating witness. Page, cooperating witness. Strzok, cooperating witness. And then this is the most exciting part of the whole drop. Next, with a question mark, Q. Who's next? Who's else is cooperating?
Yeah, Lynch probably is on the. I mean, she's on the list, but.
Yeah, and so then this is kind of, and that's what's fun about this is that we know that there's going to be more DOJ people. There's going to be like you just went to the DOJ. Not to mention all the other crimes where we're going to get all kinds of cooperating people that have already been cooperating probably for the last year, many of these secretly, I would guess. And that's why this is going to be the biggest sting in history. And that's 3064. Anything else on that before I go to 3065?
No, it seems pretty clear on that one. You got it.
Yeah. So here's 3065 where we look at a August 30th post again. Everything stated has meaning. Right after a Trump tweet, and it says, "What is the significance of Nellie Orr being fluent in Russian? Is Russian a common language to learn? What might this language be studied? Why might this language be studied? What position might this language be useful? The farm requires select skill sets." Q. So before we go on, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if you're going to take over the world and you need like sort of an evil base of power, you need many different talents. So you may as well like just raise them from birth or get them young and then raise them on all the skill sets that you need. So that they can be like the perfect agents of your will, right? So it makes sense. It would be logical to do that. So if she's some CIA asset, then I think that should come out. And really, we need to go back to the CIA being sort of we need to break it into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the wind, and less of this honorable and noble profession BS.
Exactly right. Wow. And just the farm being, that's where they train the CIA agents, right?
Yeah.
And then he links an Epic Times article. And what I love about this, it's going public now. Instead of us just reading it here, this is all going public. So here we have the Epic Times saying Nellie Orr's testimony confirms her work for the CIA. That's just beautiful.
Yeah. I think Q's been pointing that out for a while, too. I don't know when he started linking her to CIA directly, but it seems like it's been going on for a while now. So it could just be considered another Q proof, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. This is future proofs past because we've known about it for a long time, but now the public knows about it, right? So here's that.
We've connected the dots for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it says, prior to investigating the Trump campaign for Fusion GPS, Nellie Orr worked as a contractor for the CIA for up to 6 years. And I think she was probably still working there when she was at Fusion GPS, I would guess.
Yeah.
And then just think about that, because she speaks Russian and they're doing all this research of trying to get all this scoop for Russia. So she was probably some of them developing parts of the dossier.
Yeah, she was heavily involved in it. Apparently, that's coming out now that she had a very heavy hand to play. I think was the title of the article I saw in the dossier creation.
Yeah,
so she may have been the one that typed up a big portion of it.
Right. But another thing interesting is I was reading this on the plane as well, that she never put it on her resume. Nothing about the NSA, nothing about the CIA, nothing. Basically said, I'm just a contractor working for different parts of the government. She never used those prestigious organizations that you were talking about. So she was hiding it, right? So that's, to me, an agent.
Yeah, and they do that like that. That's pretty often they do that to kind of get someone in this sort of central command position of each of the other branches. They've sort of infiltrated those other branches, but then again, look at how many supposed ex-CIA just ran for office, all Democrat, in the last midterms.
That's scary stuff.
In relation to this, yeah.
Just think if you had Hillary as president and that was happening, it's like whoa.
They're coming for us. Yeah, we've got and with what they're doing and with what's combined with the AOC, sort of the socialist aspect of like the idiot free things group, and combined with some of the guerrilla tactics coming out of the Young Turks and the Wolf Pack and those groups that are sort of behind the AOCs, I'm a little concerned about that. Like, I think Trump has got it, but they're making a serious play for power, and they're going to go for full communism before it's over.
Yeah, no question about it. And then Q saying, what did we learn this week? Nelly or equals CIA. Next. So what else is going to be revealed, right? This next thing's kind of just makes me excited. It's like, well, okay, cool. Who else? Who else is working for the CIA, right?
Knocking them down.
Yeah, that's 3065. If we go to 3066, we see a New York Times article, and sometimes the truth is right in front of you. It says Facebook by Chris Cox. And if you look at this article, it gets into him resigning. And so and basically a lot of these people are bailing right now. I would bail too if I was working at Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, they have a culture of leftism and corruption, just kind of more of that. And if you want to live in that sort of environment and waste your talents fueling that kind of evil, then go for it. But we've seen they don't care about their own employees. Look at what happened with that Google guy. So I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the one who was fired for just calmly and politely stating logic. So they don't like us. They actually hate us. They'd destroy us if they could.
Yeah.
We should starve them of our talents as much as possible and our business.
Yeah, exactly right. And then there's another article. This is a Market Watch, which is looking at a lot of people selling off their stock, right? Tons of volumes going up. You can see the volumes of sell go way up. And what was really interesting is it says up here, insider actions for Facebook Incorporated. And for some reason, it has CI space A, which is really bizarre. I have no idea why they have that there, and I'm not sure exactly what that means. But I think that's what he means by the truth is right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And the CIA, the CIA's of Facebook, the CIA's Twitter, the CIA's Amazon, the CIA's Google. It's like, wow. This just shocks me because I was not awake 3.5 years ago, right? And it's like rabbit holes get deeper and deeper as we go, right?
Yeah. Class A shares, right? Yeah. So he says, yeah, that's what he says next one, but that's where we see the CIA popping up, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's right here. Here it is. You see the CIA right here in what is this, 3067, and Yaza exits. It is the Anon says that, and then Q says, "Do you see CI space A?" Q, and the next one, 3068, screenshot of it. Yep, Class A shares, fun nonetheless. Q.
So yeah.
So Class A is like the earliest, the very early shares, right? That means the founders are starting to dump shares.
I don't know how the shares work. I avoid the stock market like the plague. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a bad place to be personally.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yes. Serial Brain 2 put something out about how now Trump's in control of it. So I hope that's the truth. The markets versus the 666 that we had before. Still a rigged system, though, right?
In the 666 system you don't want to be part of. I think I'm one of those that think the everything bubble is about to hit. And the arguments I make are that we should basically be in silver and gold and crypto and just kind of waiting on it. And then when it happens, buy up everything.
I tell you, when the minus 21 went out, I bought some more gold.
Yeah.
Be the minus 20 because SB2 saying that could be the gold standard. I think there's the D class. It could be potentially the Fed. I'm not sure if you have any theories about the minus 21, but you think some of the major things are.
Well, yeah. There's so many different things right now coming together. It's like such a
Mhm.
conflux of events. I don't even want to hazard a guess.
Yeah.
So many big things that are coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of, which happens first and which domino kind of goes down. But
The orchestra. So SB2 actually put another post out today. So I would usually go over that, but I wanted to spend time with you instead. So I'll do that tomorrow. I'll team and go over the SB, the Serial Brain 2. But it was like basically talking about right now. Trump is about ready to play his orchestra of all these right now. All his instruments are going to be coming after everybody, right?
yes. Well, I'm one of those instruments. Let's do this thing. I'm coming after them too.
That's right. The maestro is about ready to unleash everybody on him in a beautiful orchestra.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful way to put it, because it really does sort of add a poetic sense to what we're doing here. But we each add our voice into it, and it mingles and makes a beautiful music.
Exactly right. All right. So here we got 3069, which gets into somebody's tweet, Maestra99, who's complaining actually. And this is just a tip for all of us. I had to do the same thing. It was funny that this happened to her where, I have 3 browser machines. This is one trick, guys, just to show you. See right here, I have Safari, I have Google, and I have Firefox. So whenever I get hit by one of those paid things, I just switch to the other browser. So that's one trick. But what Q's talking about here, so Meister's complaining about what? She says, I wish #Q would stop posting New York Times articles. Number 1, we can't read them unless we pay. Number 2, it gives them relevancy in the midst of the all-time lies. Find another source. And Q replies to that, basically addressing number 1, saying clear history/cookies to bypass all paywalls. Read free. Q.
And there's great ad blockers out there too, and there's a lot of good stuff that you can get information. And my book has already been leaked out there too, so people can actually just get the book for free. Although if you want to support it, great. But
we want you to support it. You want to support this. Yeah, I really encourage people to get it. There's been so much disinformation, crazy. But so I was shocked because I was skeptical. And then when I went to Amazon and opened up and I saw Dustin Nemos on there, and then I saw Serial Brain 2, and then I saw Joe M. These are all guys I follow and respect and trust. And so then I was going, well, I'm ordering this puppy. And then when I got it and I started reading through it, I haven't found anything wrong with it. I don't understand. I mean, the Flynn thing inspired me. I thought it was cool it was in there. So I'm just still trying to figure out why the attacks.
It kind of, at first, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was thinking that this thing that I did with the honest, pure intention of doing someone like a good thing, like kind of a good gesture, was being turned into something evil and malicious and tainted. And, at first I just kind of really just made me sad, I guess. But then I realized, the same people pushing that are just using sophistry and deception. They're not really honest about their arguments or anything. They'll, you'll answer one honestly, and you'll address their complaint. And they'll come back with the same complaint 100 other places. So it's not like they're really honest about it. They don't really want it. And then there was so many. We'll get into that later. But so many of these problems that aren't actually problems, like just outright things that were made up that people just took viral.
It hit me too. I can't remember, it was a tweet or something talking about how the Qyoo, like it was a bad review of some sort, right? And I'm going, wow, I guess I'm not going to buy that book.
We basically have a 5-star review the whole time.
Yeah, and the other thing about it that I thought was interesting is that they purposely lowered the price way low so you won't make money on it, right?
Yeah, and then compare that. It's really educational when you compare that to the other books and this, around that we're doing just a little bit less, trending, like McCabe's book. We were tanked much faster. That's telling.
Yeah, the Amazon's trying to tank you guys in money. But I think it's going to completely backfire on them, because I hear one person, I bought 9 books to give to their friends, right? And so that's what I'm encouraging my audience to do. Go buy, if you, as many as you can afford, because it's almost half price now, right?
Yeah, and if we were trying to make money on it, we'd be selling it on our personal websites, that kind of thing. We would have much better margins, and I want to do that eventually. But we wanted to push it to number 1, even on Amazon, because just like we're doing here on YouTube or on Facebook or on Twitter, we're trying to use their platform to get the truth out. That was the main message here, the main mission. And I was thinking that we took ground with this. I think we sort of like stormed the beaches, digitally speaking, and like took the fort and put our flag there and said, this is ours now, with the number 1 spot. So, that rocked the boat in a big way.
No question. I think that's just awesome. So I'm kind of doing the whole interview as we're going here. So and this is great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We were going to wait to do the Q post first, but,
Hey, we're just doing it on the way, so it's working out well.
Yeah.
3070 gets into hack the planet, hack the Gibson, and then it says good movie, zero cool Qyoo. Have you seen that any of those clips on Zero Cool or anything? So
that one's beyond me.
Yeah, so if you go to In the Matrix here, I think I have it here later queued up, but we're probably not gonna have time to get to it. But he has a clip of this Zero Cool. So go to In the Matrix on his Twitter, and you'll find a Zero Cool. But this basically has to do with what we talked about yesterday, where Facebook is bringing down their own platform so they can clean up their LifeLog stuff or whatever else they want to hide. And he's talking about the cleaning crews out, right?
Yeah. But by the time Q tipped his hand, it's because we already have it all, right?
Exactly. So a little too late, just like they did with the Xbox Live and the PlayStation, etc., when they were using the chat logs to communicate illegal stuff or subversive stuff. 3071 gets into, to summarize this week, regarding the Democrats' prep to steal the 2020 elections, attack Fox News to control opposition narrative, 6 companies control 90% of the MSM, vote to allow illegal immigrants right to vote in elections, push talking points regarding voter age should decrease from 18 to 16, no wall, open borders, all welcome equals more Democratic votes, deny proper counting U.S. Census, avoid public knowledge of real illegal population to avoid voter fraud percentage risk to elections. Welcome to the Democratic Party. Q.
Wow. Can we just raise the voting age to like maybe 30 and require that you can be able to read?
Yeah.
That'd be a good start.
Yeah, you can speak English too, right? Maybe it would be another good
At
one.
the very least, this is sort of the problem that like it's kind of one of those lies we all tell ourselves, like democracy can work. It never does. It can't. It used to be a better system when only like people who had massive land could vote, because people had a much higher interest and stake in kind of what happened. And then when you get more and more and more of the less incentivized, I have less of skin in the game type of folks voting, which is not necessarily their fault. We've been under war, economic war for so long. We're all poor now. But, once upon a time, it was sort of, that wealthy class that sort of kept the elite at bay, and you wanted those folks to make the right decisions and be well informed, and folks who had a skin in the game. And that was not a bad system, although, every system has flaws, of course. So nowadays it's every single person can vote, no matter how ignorant they are, and they churn out stupid people and then they manipulate them into voting the way they want. So democracies can only work until all the stupid people realize that they can vote for free things from the productive.
Yeah, it becomes a horrible cycle for them. And I think what people are realizing, that true liberty and capitalism with a growing economy and actually working versus getting free stuff is what really grows a country and brings us together as the great melting pot, right? That's my message a lot of times, is that this is not right versus left. It's kind of becoming that right now, but in general, there's a lot of good people on the left, like I used to be, that are waking up, and the whole walkaway movement's really exciting to me as well.
Yeah, I agree. It really all comes down to good versus evil, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's so much room for good capitalist value and values to change the world. I mean, really all it is turning your natural greed, which we all have, into helping other people. So turning your greed into altruism. I mean, you can't beat that for a system.
Yeah, exactly right. So 3072 says 3071 just replays and then amplifies on it. It says disregard spelling error on the move Q. That's where you saw I said it right, talking.
His web one, yeah.
Yeah. So 3073, we're almost getting through this, Dustin. Says,
I've got to say, though, I think the grammar Nazis probably hate Q because he's made a lot of typos lately.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you're on mobiles and there's probably 3 or 4 of them, right? Or 5 or 6 of them, maybe. It's
Who knows? He's got so many to balance, I'm sure, for his security and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be funny to see if if there's, there's like 6 of them posting, there's one person doing all the spelling errors. Dude, be more careful. Attention to detail. I used to tell my Anderson, my Accenture people.
You can imagine that someone in the bunker where Qyoo is like stationed for like the duration of this thing, somebody's like throwing a beer at him right now.
Yeah.
He did it again.
So 37.3, it's Facebook says outage cause server change now resolved. And server configure change, Qyoo. So the configuration is trying to get all the dirt out of the way.
Yeah.
My dog's trying to get through the door here to come and see me.
Well, it would be really easy to go in there and find all the back end stuff of how they're pulling in all this information illegally, what they're doing with it, who they're sending it to. On the back end, these things aren't really that hidden. So they're having to go through and make it look like they were never doing this. And that's a whole nother thing. And that's not even necessarily going to be possible at this point. Like the NSA has it all.
Yeah, covering their tracks. This is probably just going to be more evidence for trying to cover up a crime now is what's happening to them right now. And they're going to get in more trouble because of it. That's 3073. If I go to 3074, it says, very sad to see Germany pulling the strings on the UK. Democracy must and should always prevail. Qyoo+. We have Qyoo+ signing this. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Kind of an egg on my face where I just said democracy never works too. I stand by it, but I understand like the rah-rah part of it.
Yeah. It's well, no, we're not a democracy. Remember, we're a democratic republic, which is much different, right?
We're just we're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy at all. Actually,
that's true.
Like the whole that's kind of what they teach people, and they've really been pushing that democracy is this, and they use it as such a good word. Like they push communism and socialism, and they use it as a good word, even though it basically just means mass murder and starvation and tyranny and stuff. But like when you really dig into those words, like democracy is not a good. It is kind of the meme: 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. Except for the wolves are probably junkies or like just welfare queens or something, and they've got 10 kids, and they're like completely victims of the system as well, and completely dependent. And the sheep is just like overworked and tied to this stone mill that's just working all day and grinding them down. So it's kind of a more realistic picture of where we are rather than just being eaten. But yeah, and
that's why the constitutional republic is so important. That's why we had the electoral college, because otherwise the states in the middle of the country would never even have a voice. Right, and not to mention just doesn't matter if 99% of the people say you shouldn't have free speech. It doesn't matter in a constitution. That 1% can say, no, you can't take my right to speak away. That's the beautiful thing.
Exactly, and that's a key concept, and we have to understand like the difference between natural rights, exploitation, these words that they've manipulated and played. I want to boil it down for people back to like base concepts of just moral concepts and right and wrong, and it makes it simple for people.
Yeah, that's awesome. We get another Qyoo+ here too. Then this is what I did my whole name of this video of this episode was "Stand Strong, Patriots. The United States is with you." Qyoo+. So just the fact that's just like motivating to me. We have Trump and I think he's really talking. I think to the anons that are digging in here. The attacks that everybody's getting, attacks like you. I think this is a message to you, Dustin, about stand strong behind your book, right? You were doing what you thought was right, and I think millions are going to wake up because of this. So,
well, he's probably talking to someone outside of the U.S. in that context. Maybe, I don't know, but I wouldn't mind seeing Qyoo like kind of a hat tip to the book. I doubt it'll happen, but.
No, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be kind of a cool thing to see that. It would really mark it in history for sure. But
that would
I feel good about it though.
Good. And I want to talk to you about how quickly this was put together. That's an amazing thing to me. So I think this is the last one, so let me get to it. 3076 is a tweet. It just says Qyoo. Since this is new since we went live, I think. It says, this is about to break wide open, and many of these players are about to see a day of reckoning. And this is a little...
What we're doing, does anybody even know?
It's a 1:41 clip on... I don't want to have a copyright violation for Fox News. But another day with no evidence of collusion. So I'm not sure exactly what this is getting into too much, but we know that this is all breaking.
Yeah, all of the stuff that's come out of what she said and now what Strzok is saying and everything else, all that's hitting the public space, and now the pressure mounts. Then the heads roll, then the big names, and it all in line with also the end of the Mueller thing, and then Rosenstein going down as well. So that's their firewall, that's their protection. Their indictments of the Trump kids, obviously, that's been pulled. We've gotten most of the bad guys out of the FBI now. We've gotten the Supreme Court. We kind of kicking ass, man.
It's exciting. Yes. Woo. And there's two more that came up when I refreshed. 3077 says, be vigilant at all times. US, UK, France, IT. Mentions Italy. See something, say something. So he's warning us of false flags, it looks like. Narrative change needed. Fake news attempting to rebrand harmful testimony and instead provide misleading info into their readers. What's new about that, huh?
Yeah, nothing new there. I got to say, though, that see something, say something, I know we're turning that like term into something good here and using it. But it's weird to see that creepy Orwellian term. It used to be like such a creepy thing, like in the airports and stuff.
Tell on somebody else. Tell on a good guy, right? Yeah, that's a good point.
Using it against them, that's so beautiful and cute. He really is a maestro. Cyril Brain's got it right.
That's right. And then there's a post here from Washington Post about a newly released transcript. Former FBI lawyer fires back on charges that anti-Trump bias affected Trump and Clinton probes. So here we have, I love it. This is like Kim Clement saying, I'm in Washington Post, so you're going to have to say what I want them to say. So they're having to say what is the truth now sometimes. Even though they want to lie to us, they have to report it now. This is from the Washington Post. Crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And
they're not happy about it, I'm sure.
I'm sure they're not. And so it's like, well, okay, this is in our face now. The public has it. I've got to report something on it, right? So it'll be very interesting. I'm sure they've got some twisting down below to try to make it not sound so bad, right? And make it Trump's fault.
Then it is any way you can. Oh, and by the way, at the end, Trump kicks a baby seal, eats a puppy, and like punches a homeless lady that's in a wheelchair and has one eye and no leg.
That's exactly right. Now here we go on the last one, hopefully, and then we can get to the book. 3078, not big enough to pull headlines, news away, think days. And so this is one we'll probably have to go back to the board. Not big enough to pull headlines, news away, think days.
I think he's talking to them here. Like whatever they're planning is not going to be big enough to distract from this. I mean, we know the kind of things that they pull, these events that happen to distract from the headlines. So you know what I'm talking about. Can't use the word. I'm sure they'll ban you or something.
Yeah. The stage distractions, or I just call them what they are, false flags.
Okay, if you're willing to do it.
So I do it all the time anyway, because everything gets demonetized anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. But I flipped over to, usually if I hit this, you'll see what he's replying to in a second when this refreshes. Aren't you missing New Zealand there, boss? Is what he replied to. So that was, so aren't you missing New Zealand there, boss? And then he replied, be vigilant at all times. Okay, when that was a reply to the UK, US, France, Italy. And then that was interesting. Let me try this one more time, because usually you click on this. I learned the other day that if you click on the title, it takes you to the 8chan board, and it's where that post actually happened. The not big enough to pull headlines, news away, think days. So they're saying, yeah, we're gonna be delivering something every day. So it doesn't matter what you try to do, you're gonna be messed up. And so DARPA is building a $10 million open source secure voting system, is something I see. So I can't really track exactly where this came from, but anyway, good stuff. So let me refresh to see if we got through all this, and then let's get to the book real quick. I know we burnt through the hour, but you mind spend just a little bit more time telling us how quickly this is pulled together? But back up. Let's back up all the way to just real quickly when you first got red pilled And we're following Alex Jones. Would you mind just doing a real quick summary of your background from all the way to 17 years old?
I was just a gamer nerd kid, about 15, 16, was kind of plugged into the internet, playing a lot of EverQuest and World of Warcraft and all that junk. And I started going down some rabbit holes, started learning some things. Was always a reader. I always liked kind of delving into things and learning concepts. It served me well. I went down almost every rabbit hole in the internet that there is, about 8 hours plus a day for the last, since I was 17. I'm almost 32 now, so whatever that is. I went to a public school, so I don't math too good. But basically, I've been diving into these things my whole life, my whole adult life, and I've been passionately unable to look away for most of my adult life. A long time that led me to, like I said, hedonism and escapism and just nihilism and sort of a giving up and avoiding and escapism kind of mentality. But, Qyoo and Trump and everything that happened there, I followed things, I followed the arguments, but, I wasn't fighting very hard. And that woke me up and gave me the hope again. So
that's awesome.
I got started again and started fighting again and kind of relit the fire a bit. And since then, it just hasn't gone out. And, this book is just, it was a really cool thing that came together it was more of a networking. It was more networking than some sort of like written achievement. Like I'm not really a good writer, more of a reader and an archiver. And I'm working on that, but we networked and we brought together a lot of people who knew what they were talking about, who had something to contribute to the book, and not everybody made it in. Not everybody wanted to be in. We went through quite a few names. We couldn't get everybody, and we couldn't be really public about it because we don't want to announce your plans to the enemy like Amazon before you do something like this. But just like Trump, you don't let the enemy know what's coming.
Right.
And look at how it worked. We came together sort of as an example, not all of us, but as an example of what can happen when alt media comes together and networks and pulls things together and forces it through. Even number one on Amazon is possible. We can get through their matrix. We can glitch the matrix. We can get the normies. That's why I was saying I think this was a big victory and a kind of a territory grab from the MSM. We're now a bestseller. Qyoo told us to archive offline. You cannot memory hole a bestseller like you can just some article on the internet. It's a different process, and it triggers people in a different way. So that's a good thing as well. Plus, a lot of people are saying that they just love being able to pass this book out to people that they know to red pill them. So that's really cool as well.
That is. And so tell me about the time frame from when you kind of had the list together, who was going to do it, to when this actually was submitted, and then how it was submitted, right?
It's a funny story because I was planning on doing a health book for DIY recipes of stuff you can do at home to stay healthy holistically. But, I ran into Captain Roy after he got banned from the Reddit boards, him and Stillbrain 2 and others, and I offered them a place on my website because I just hate censorship. And I'm always trying to build bridges and help people who are being censored. So I brought them, or at least I invited them onto my website to host their material. Captain Roy took me up on that. He was kind of talking about different ideas, and I was talking about how I had a publisher, and, we're talking about the health book I was going to do. And, we sort of pitched this idea of let's do a QAnon collaborative book, call it Where We Go One, We Go All, to honor the Anons that have made this thing possible, the whole community as a group, the culture, the message itself. As they say, what's the quote? Emulation is the sincerest form of flattery, or something like that. We put that in there to honor those folks. We put Flynn in there to honor him, and his message was perfect for this book. I mean, whether or not you think he knew about Qyoo or not is immaterial. The message was perfect for the book. We're going to change the wording to make it clear what we meant. But, a lot of this was also, the publisher, he's a good publisher, a professional publisher, but not necessarily like a QAnon follower who's going to know all this, the subtle contextual clues of our community here.
Right.
So, there was a little bit of that as well. So we had to put out some fires at first about that and answer some questions for sure, and full transparency. And there was a lot of, anger and I did rebuttals. I politely addressed the arguments. I did it transparently and publicly, and then I feel like we've pretty much put out most of those fires now. The biggest ones were like you use Flynn's words and you associated it with QAnon, although that's not what he intended because he said that first, and QAnon wasn't out yet. Okay, sure.
That's just silly to me. It's like,
well,
I mean, we all play that as, I mean, anyway.
A lot of people are protective of Flynn, and I get that. You know,
right.
we care about him immensely. We've all seen what he's gone through, and you know, I've always tried to honor Flynn and bring attention to his case and to his situation and to his defense fund and everything else. But you know, in this case, people thought we were misattributing this and putting words in his mouth, and you know, it could have been worded better. It could have been worded better. I didn't do that part of the book. You know, I just did my chapter. Everybody just did their chapter. This was largely delegated. This was not something where we like got together and said, let's steal Flynn's work and take credit for it. You know, that's not how it worked.
It was one page of a 300, right? What do you have?
It's an attributed quote to a former government official, you know, a public celebrity.
250 pages, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, it was attributed, I think it was like once or twice removed, honestly. I don't even know if it's a direct quote. But, you know, it wasn't like illegal or anything. It certainly wasn't, you know, offensive or immoral to most people. But there were a few voices that just kind of pushed that narrative. Like I said, largely the same ones that were doing this sort of these same arguments that didn't make sense. A big example, everyone out there now is saying that I've claimed that I am the authority on QAnon. Holy cow.
I know your heart, so that's not right at all.
You know what? My jaw almost dropped when I saw that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Me, the authority? Are you kidding me? I've got some interesting stories to tell. I've been with this thing since the beginning, and I've certainly I've got a handle on the issues. But the authority, no, that's ridiculous. I never said that. In fact, that doesn't even appear in the book at all.
It doesn't, and you put yourself almost at the back of the book.
Yeah, and in fact, the word authority doesn't even appear in the book, but it does appear in the descriptive blurb that someone volunteer wrote about the book for Amazon. So it's in the description.
I gotcha.
It says authorities on Amazon, which is true. Everyone in that book is an authority on Amazon, or not Amazon, authority on QAnon. So
no question, you got to put it. The people you have in here,
everyone in there is one. Thousands of you, yourself included, authorities on QAnon from different perspectives, different angles. All of us have our own everything. So yeah, we are authorities on Q. But it's kind of arrogant sounding, so it's going to be changed and worded better anyway. But they were out there pushing and saying, quotes the authority on QAnon or something like that. So that kind of lie got out there to a lot of people, and a lot of the pushback was a lie. The spokesperson for Where We Go When We Go All. In retrospect, that's probably my fault because it could have been clarified, I guess, better. Because when I named it Where We Go When We Go All, I wasn't trying to claim credit for the whole movement, right? I was trying to honor the movement. And when the book ended up saying spokesperson for Where We Go When We Go All, it's not because I wrote that or anything, but it's because of all the people in the book. I'm sort of the guy who's supposed to be the point man on answering questions and doing that kind of thing. Everybody else just wanted to contribute their chapter and get back to their busy, very busy stuff. Right. You know, and I understand that. I'm super busy too. So I just had to pull an all-nighter to address these things. But
yeah, well, you put yourself on 231 of a 250-page book, so I don't think you're being too arrogant.
Well, it wasn't about that. I mean, I've always just been humbled to be part of this. I've always said I walk among giants. But, you know, I think I have a shot at having the funniest chapter in the book. You know, I did talk, like I said, about Alex Jones crying and stuff. And now, you know, I've been pointing out, like, I just use it as marketing. I've been pointing out how he said that I put out a video, me and QAnon put out a video to put out a kill on him, say to kill Alex Jones. So if you go to my channel, there's this one video of me holding a knife with like big crazy eyes and like, kill Alex Jones ? Because and it's not even clickbait. It's the absolute truth. He says it with his own words. I've got it on video, and then everything else, and him saying that, you know, made him cry in front of his kids when he's making breakfast because he watched my video. So it's just, you know, it's all there on the video. It's all, you know, and that's what went into the chapter a little bit too. But kind of my experience with unmasking some of these folks who are moving among us and spreading things like this on purpose, intentionally, across dozens of different places over a period of hours, like 8 or 9 hours at a time. Some of these trolls are attacking me with lies and deception. and turning good people against me for no reason. And, when they see what's happening, now it's all people defending me. But, at first it was like, why are you causing division? That's one I get a lot. And look, I'm not here for unity. I'm here for unity with patriots.
Well, what's amazing to me, you've got people like Neon Revolt, like who's taking months and months and months and months to write a book. And so what was the time frame from when you decided to you kind of knew who was going to write it to when you actually published it?
Well, it came together. It was kind of just, I don't think it was more than a month or two.
Isn't that awesome? That's what that's just so amazing to me. And then we needed this. We need to get something out quickly, right?
Yeah. Well, the joke was that it was originally, it was meant as a weapon. It was meant as a weapon to try to get some truth out there. Yes, I love books. I wanted to have kind of a physical book I could smell and pass out to people, and I knew people would like that. Mm-hmm. And I knew it would be, like, to some degree a hit within the community because everybody that was involved. But man, just in terms of getting the word out there and getting this thing to the #1 and how fast we hit it.
Now explain that. What was the time frame to get there, and without giving the secrets, let us know how.
Like, real fast before that, like, I kind of joke that this whole thing was really just a story and a couple of phone calls, and that's kind of what happened. And there's a lesson in that, and it's not that I'm so awesome or anything. It's that there's opportunity in patriotism. There's a lot of market share out there for patriots, and in every market, people we need to be building businesses and building industry and building a new system to outgrow and replace the old system. We need to come at this from a capitalist perspective, and that's something kind of very cool about this thing. I mean, we came together on this thing in a very quick and efficient time. We networked it. And that is something that I think it's an untapped thing in the Qyoo and truth community in general. We need to be networking more. I already want to start like a truther RV park, but it went fast. Most of this content was already done. A lot of it, like Joe's chapter was the plan to save the world video. It was transcribed.
That was great way to start out.
It had to be part of the book, right? Yeah. Obviously, clearly meant to be. And a lot of the book just kind of fell together that way. The people that did all the work, getting it off the ground and getting, all the back end networking and the little nitty gritty details and setting it up and everything. That's the publisher and Roy. They did all the hard work. So they get the credit for this, not me. But I was once again, I'm just honored to be part of it. And I've been forced to be like the spokesman for the book, not the movement. To clarify, because they're named the same, but I've been the spokesman for that to some degree, because I never thought I'd have to continue like talking about it for so long. I'm trying to defend the other authors who are kind of under attack and such from some of the trolls, and I wanted to get it up to #1. I think we actually did, but they cheated us out of it with some of the hundreds of reviews that they dropped, confirmed purchase reviews, by the way.
They
dropped them hundreds, man, while we were fighting McCabe for the top spot too, like neck and neck. Deep State versus Qyoo narratives, like we won.
Wow.
We just charged in and broke the doors down and like ripped off our shirt and like we won, man.
Just for a moment, you were there, right?
We were there for a moment, and then the censor came back and like they kind of messed with the algorithmic bit, and now everybody said they just did an algorithmic push, which doesn't mean anything except for we used the algorithm to buy so many copies of the book that we pushed it to #1. But I guess it sounds a little bit deceptive when you're saying they did it with an algorithmic push. Whatever. It's fine. We had a good moment. We got a glitch in the matrix. We have something that we can use to help red pill normal people now. This just increases the Qyoo presence, the Qyoo media, the Qyoo culture, the Qyoo whatever it is, credibility. This is a good thing, I think, for the world. They're sort of making it about me, and to some degree, the media hasn't done that, which is fine. I don't really plan on it to be about me. A lot of the alt media, a lot of the I guess the fake MAGA types, as I call them, they seem to be making it largely about me, and they seem to be coming at Joe pretty hard. Some of the authors are not even bothering, which is interesting.
I don't notice a lot of people attack Serial Brain too on Vote and stuff. So
which just the division among those patriots within the openly like Qyoo supporting part of it that are effective, I think, and they're trying to turn people against those, which is very telling in and of itself. I've talked to some of the authors who are not necessarily like pro Qyoo people. They just had really important stories that are part of this, and they said, "Well, I haven't had any issues out of it at all." Which is kind of funny. I don't know.
All right. There's Clark Prasad just gave a little super chat. He's the guy from India that was Qyoo'd from all the way from India. So,
hey, man.
And he's got a book as well, by the way. I have it on the deal. Let me grab it real quick.
It's kind of an exclusive club to be in. So
yeah, he's basically got a fictional book that's basically about it's called the Barmula Bomber, and it's basically it's a fictional characters, but it all talks about exactly what's going on with the Illuminati and all the backroom things that are going on. So cool book. Guy written from India, so this is a worldwide movement. That is what's so wild about this. Did they show you what's being bought from? Is it only sold in the United States, or can people get this worldwide?
That's a very good question.
Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, I would really recommend that if you're curious, at least go buy one copy of this. But because it's so cheap now, I think it's what, $15 when it was supposed to be like $25.
It was. We started. I think the plan. And I wasn't part of this part. I just sort of delegated it, but was to start at like 25 or something, fairly high, because we knew that they would be this like automatic drop off after so many days. Because the publisher sort of knows how the system with Amazon works. To some degree, at least. I mean, no one fully understands the algorithm, but she kind of had built that in to expect that. We had planned on 5,000 copies being a break even, but they really nuked the price. So I don't even know if we've had the break even point, despite being a bestseller. So I don't even know where we are now. I'm not worried about losing money for the publisher or anything at this point. I think we've gotten to the point where we're not sort of like afraid of being in the red or anything. But it's a book. It doesn't make that much money, but it sure is cool to piss off the entire staff. There were some cool stories, and there's some cool sections in here, like the Show Brain stuff, like the Joe M section. I mean, this thing is a piece of history, I think.
Yeah, no kidding about it. And I think and what's the approximate cost now? Is it like $15 or something like that down there?
I haven't even checked the price lately.
Yeah, and so go get 2 or 3 copies and give them out. I love the back of it. It's time to wake up, right? And Qyoo is
they
real.
did a good job on the cover, I think.
Qyoo is insider knowledge. Qyoo knows what will make news, sometimes months before it happens. Qyoo offers more truth than the fake news from the mainstream media, right? So this guy does a really good job on the back cover, I thought, as well. And
I think they nailed it.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, well done, man. I'm just proud to have you on the channel here. And I said, I got a copy in India yesterday, the Qyoo book. All right, Clark.
Man. Thank you.
Yeah, so Clark Prasad actually got a copy. So obviously this is a worldwide book and a worldwide phenomenon. It'll be interesting to see how that comes. And so the fact that it went to, have you checked the rankings now and we're kind of sitting now, or is they just they're going to plummet it down on purpose, right?
When they started really ramping up the censorship and the games and everything, and all of the media were attacking, I think we were at number 2 at the time of all books on there. And then I noticed they were really ramping up the Michelle Obama book, and then that one that was ahead of us, I think it had like 50 or something reviews. Like, really, I think they were buying those books. Honestly, I'm not sure. Maybe that's petty to say, and I wasn't paying enough attention to really say that. But at some point, I just quit looking at it because it's like my YouTube channel followers and stuff. That's not the number. I know that's not the number.
Exactly.
Everybody knows it's not the number. They're lying to us. I mean, it's fake. It's all just controlled, sort of like it's some sort of like a 20% or 30% algorithm that tells you you're not getting as much as you are. They throttle you down to make, they deboost you, right? That's what the Facebook term. So I'm assuming that I'm deboosted across the entire internet, which is perfectly exactly where I want to be, because those are the best people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, hey, I know that you have a family there with your daughter and on the midst of moving and all that type of stuff. I just didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to cover to make sure we hit before we go off there.
Well, it's a crazy trip for me and everything, but it's the first book of many, I hope, and I hope others will do books. I hope others will will start like businesses and stuff, and try to associate with patriots and stuff, and hire patriots and stuff, and get, I hope that, even the people that are like the detractors, or the people even in the book that won't take money, I hope they'll start taking money and do this full time and become as effective as possible. Personally, I'm a capitalist and I'm trying to do big things in the world. I want to, hire a full-time human trafficking reporter. I want to hire help. I want to get my Nemos news network going. I want to change the world in big ways. And as I know you and many others in alt media do. And now I'm about trying to find ways to use sort of my serial entrepreneurialism attitude to fix things or solve problems and help people and make money and fund that expansion for the media thing. Because this kind of business stuff is how I fund all of the alt media stuff that I'm doing to expose the truth. So I'm trying to do that for others. I'm trying to get them focused. I'm trying to, network and create opportunity for patriots. And, as much as possible, just help the community to grow and thrive and replace the old and outdated, and to be smarter, faster, healthier, sharper, whatever it is that I can do.
That's going to be a beautiful time. And so we're talking DustinNemos.com. We also have Dustin Nemos YouTube.
Yeah, too.
Go ahead and talk about the Twitter, and where else can people find you?
Yeah, Dustin Nemos with a 2 on YouTube, because my first one was banned after Florida. And then Nemo V8 on Twitter, and ApexHealth.club is sort of like the health supplement stuff, high impact, good quality, well vetted stuff, but life changing products. But that's the one that funds my alt media stuff. So I'm setting up other companies. I'm trying to set up as much as I can to create redundancy. Like I said, there's market share for patriotism for everything. You selling used cars, just throw a QAnon on it, man. You're going to get more customers. Throw a MAGA on it, but don't cheat people. Don't be dishonest about it. But be genuine and work with people. Try to help other people within this movement, and do win-win voluntary interactions, and like build a reputation helping people, and do business that way. I mean, we need some openly pro MAGA businesses and stuff. I want to do like MAGA hot dogs, and just nationwide, like hot dogs with MAGA hats everywhere. And like, you can get the MAGA hat from the hot dog cart instead of the baseball cap. Like, I want to do all that cool stuff. And I want to go, not like sell out commercial, but like commercial quality and smooth and, high customer service, and like really ramp up kind of not just the alt media thing where we have a lot of integrity, and some of us are good at the demonstration and the presentation with videos and stuff, but we're all lacking in some level of polish, because we're all acting like one-man armies, and that's not effective. We're taking on multi-billion-dollar propaganda outfits with government money and billionaire backers. So I want to win. I'm not playing small. I'm kind of, it's me. Sorry I took so long.
No, that's perfect. I love it. I love it.
I got a lot of passion lately, man. I've been moving, and I haven't been working as much because I've been driving so much, and I got all these ideas.
That's awesome. And then that's exactly what we need, is everybody to, I really believe, and the way I usually end these is going over some type of prayer and talking about, hey, people, what's the Lord telling you that how is he going to use you in this new world? Because they're going to be cleaning house, and there's going to be openings everywhere in all parts of these, what many people call the 7 mountains, whether it's academia, or whether it's the media, or whether it's the government, or it's within families, and within the even in the spirituality areas. There's going to be just openings everywhere, and it's going to be quite exciting in this new world of the post Great Awakening, right?
Yeah, no time to be small. I mean, Qyoo has told us we're the media now. We have to take it seriously and treat it with respect, and that means we have to take it to the next level and challenge them on their level. And that means for the normies, we need the polish. We need the accolades. We need the best-selling author bull crap that doesn't really matter because it's Amazon. We need all of that, and we need that to be as effective as possible. So, for me, as far as I'm concerned, I just want to be a doctor of truth, and I'm going to have as many accolades toward that as possible. And when they come to me for a diagnosis, I'm gonna, if I need to, I'll point at my wall if I need to do that to boost my credibility. But for people that have been around, for yourself, myself and others that do this, they know the kind of people we are. They know what we stand for. But now it's time to take it to the next level and reach out to others, I think, and to grow this thing and take the market share from the fake MAGA types like Fox News.
Amen. Amen. So are you going to be in July 4th in DC, or any chance you can make it?
I keep hearing something about that, but I haven't kind of committed to it. I've got
Yeah.
so much going on down here. I don't know. I would love to.
Yeah. So
Be my second
I
trip.
think he's going to be a rally. He's going to have a rally there on July 4th. So I think I'm going to try to get my wife to join
I know.
me.
Well, I know there's a lot of like plans on the back end to like alt media folks. There was talk of everybody coming in with white hats and passing out 1,000 white hats and doing some kind of big thing.
Cool.
That could be fun, but I haven't had time to like really think about organizing it. It's kind of getting late. So there's a lot of other things I was kind of privy to that people were talking about. So it would be fun. I would love to.
All right. Well, I'd love to meet you live sometime. And hey, I know that people, I didn't get to the questions, et cetera, like that. So I don't know if it would make sense to maybe next month or something have a time where we're just answering questions to the audience or something like that. Have a different type of show.
Anytime.
You okay? Do something like that. All right.
I like those AMAs. I can't believe people actually care about asking me stuff, but okay.
That sounds great. All right. Hey, We're going to wrap it up there. Thanks so much. This is Dustin Nemos of DustinNemos.com. Appreciate you coming on the Blessed to Teach show. And we will we'll catch you guys in a little bit. Let me move over to just show this. Is that, hey, stand strong, President Trump says. Qyoo Plus saying stand strong, Patriots. The U.S. is behind you. I think you might be right. That might be to people like Clark Prasad, who has a Qyoo book in India, right? So this is not just the United States it's happening. It's a worldwide affair. Again, this is Rick, your host on the Blessed to Teach show here on Monday, March 14th. Thank you, Dustin Nemos. Appreciate you coming on.
Good night, guys.
All right. God bless, guys. We will talk to you next time.